Well, good morning, everybody. Have a look at another dude video. Great one that he did about the March 1st interrogation. And of course, it was the dude that coined the phrase, "Be classy" for Brendan Dassey. And it's been a while since, really I've had to deal with the guilter-hater community. As you know, I always regularly invited them, to come on and debate sensibly. And, in fairness, there have been, like Bose 4321 that came on, and, it was very cordial. But, to any guilter-hater out there that feels that it's appropriate to put comments on the YouTube videos making personal attacks, then I'm afraid you have immediately lost the argument. Yes, you're allowed to obviously disagree with different people's opinions, but to try and annoy or irritate or cause some sort of a heated sort of response, that kind of thing, which is obviously what guilters and haters like to try and do. Unfortunately, as soon as you make it personal, that comment gets deleted. So just to be aware, I do read every single comment that's sent gets flagged up on my phone, and I do read. I'll start to read some of them, and any kind of personal, trying to be derogatory from a personal point of view, you've lost the argument. It's not about me. It's not about Erekose. It's about the people. It's about Stephen Avery, Brendan, Teresa, Jody Jones, Luke Mitchell, Eagle Nation Cycles, Michael Funk. It's you can have a different opinion, but as soon as you start trying to provoke a heated response, you're not going to get one. It's just going to get deleted. It's just going to get removed, because we're not here to engage in personal attacks. And as I say, it does you no service at all, because it just makes you look bad, because you're losing sight of what the debate is about. Okay. Hopefully that's made it clear. Personally, the only people that I've ever deleted messages from were back in the days of Scott Yuck, Woody Woodpecker, Tess Sanders, trying to make it a hugely personal thing. And there was somebody recently who was trying to get personal. So your messages just get removed. So don't bother writing too much. Don't waste your time writing too much. It won't stay. Obviously, there are times when, for some reason, YouTube automatically blocks certain messages from appearing. Those stupid ones with a little number reference, which is just to try and distract you and get you to go somewhere for whatever. Sometimes YouTube blocks stuff which it really shouldn't do, because the comments were perfectly good. Nobody knows what happens in those cases. I've never yet managed to get a proper explanation as to where some of the comments end up, because they're just hidden. And sometimes they'll come up on my screen. There's a comment, and then you go to click on it, and it's not there. It's bizarre. Anyway, hope that's that bit sorted out. Now let's do this, and do this, do this, and do this, and move me up the way, and let's click on play.
Hello everybody, you have tuned in to Erekose on Making a Murderer on YouTube. I cover virtually any aspect of making a murderer. I go over the evidence, the documents, the photos, So if you like, stay tuned, and in the future I'll have many more videos besides the one you're about to see.
Brendan,
Go ahead.
what do you think's going to happen? What do you think should happen right now?
Oh.
You know, obviously, that we're police officers, okay? And because of what you told us, we're going to have to arrest you. Did you kind of figure that was coming? For what you did, we can't let you go right now. The law will not let us. And so you're not going to be able to go home tonight. All right?
Does my mom know?
Your mom knows.
Your mom is here, okay? Would you like to talk to her? Yeah.
Do you have it before we bring her in? Do you have any other questions right now? You do understand that you're under arrest now?
So could I call my girlfriend and tell her that I couldn't come today?
We'll give you an opportunity to do that. Okay? Did you kind of, I mean, honestly, after telling us what you told us, you kind of figured this was coming? Yeah?
Is it only for one day or
We don't know that at this time.
how long is it though?
I don't know.
Yeah, but I got a question.
What's that?
What would happen if he says something, like his story is different, but he says he admits to doing it?
What do you mean?
Like, if his story's like different, like, I never did nothing or something.
Did you? Huh?
Not really.
What do you mean, not really?
They got to my head.
Huh?
Didn't say anything.
Have you ever thought about becoming an online coach, helping people through your knowledge or passion from the company?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As you may have guessed, we are here today to talk about Brendan Dassey in the March 1st interview / interrogation of Brendan Dassey. So, we're going to be going over some things here today, but, you know, I wanted to go ahead and play that clip at the beginning there that you just saw Brendan talking about. They got to my head and stuff, because, you know, that usually comes at the end of the interrogation and stuff like that, and I just felt like it needed to be at the beginning of a video or two, so that it gets seen and gets, you know, more exposure. Because it is really remarkable, the moment that those two detectives walk out of that room and he's left alone with his mom, he's immediately telling her, look, what if none of that even happened? And, you know, what if none of it's true? And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, they got to my head. You know, so it's, to me, and then the moment he starts saying that, they come walking right back in to the room. I mean, I don't think that's an accident. I think they were outside monitoring it and heard him saying that and immediately panicked and came right back into that room. That's my opinion. But it follows, it stands to reason because of how quickly they got back in that room as soon as he started talking like that. So, what we're going to move into here is a couple things. First, we're going to start off with Laura Nyrider explaining what plot points and fact feeding were going on in this interrogation to Judge Hamilton. He's one of the three judges that was on the three-judge panel at the 7th Circuit Court, which granted Brendan his habeas petition again, but he was the dissenting judge. And this is where he's asking Laura Nyrider about what are plot points and what are you know, fact feeding. And so Laura goes on to explain to him what she's talking about. And then we're going to go on after that. You know, we're going to see a clip from the interview, basically kind of showing what she was talking about. And then we're going to go on to the fact that Judge Rovner and the problem she had with the fact that the investigators continuously and repetitiously kept trying to push everything out to the garage with Brendan. That's the same thing that Laura Nyrider is talking about. It's fact, it's plot points, giving Brendan a plot point and or a fact that they fed him and saying, you know, now tell us what happened in the garage type of thing. That was happening way too much in Judge Robner's opinion, and she found it to be very, very uncomfortable. So that's what we're going to kind of see here today. This video is going to kind of go over what the plot points and things like that. Now, there's going to also be a part 2 and possibly a part 3 to this. Part 2 is going to deal with more of the false promises, the you know, the whole idea that it was an interview and not an interrogation, and that sort of stuff. But this one here, I wanted to go ahead and get out there to where it's fully understandable, that people understand what Laura Nyrider and Judge Robner are getting at when they're saying that these plot points and this fact feeding was going on with Brendan, and for Judge Robner it was happening with the garage, and the way that they were trying to push him out to the garage and say things happened in the garage did not sit well with her. So we're going to go ahead right now. We'll move into the Laura Nyrider clip. This is going to be Laura Nyrider addressing Judge Hamilton, as it is, the dissenting judge in the 7th Circuit panel, and explaining to him what she is talking about with plot points and fact feeding. So here we go.
Well, it's clear he's been very resistant up to that point. He's been very reluctant. He's telling a contradictory story that doesn't make any sense, and they're calling him on it. It comes out very slowly and painfully, but he volunteers it.
Your Honor, I would respectfully disagree.
Okay.
Every step of that confession, every new fact, every primary plot point is a result of suggestion. Now, it's true that after the interrogators introduce a plot point, they allow Brendan to embellish until the story veers from what they think probably happened, and then
plot
they
point
recenter.
like what? You
plot
went
point.
inside,
You went inside the house, yes.
and then
And
you're holding them responsible for all the details that come after that.
I'm not holding them responsible, Your Honor, but I'm pointing out that what happened was they used false promises of leniency combined with fact feeding at every crucial step of the story.
What's the fact feeding? I guess I'm having trouble with that in the early stages of the interview.
Because you're
Absolutely.
thick.
I think you went over to Stephen Avery's house at Separate Appendix 54. You went back in that room, Separate Appendix 61. Does he ask you to rate Halbach, Separate Appendix at 60? You were there when she died, Separate Appendix 67. Step by step by step. Now, Your Honor is correct that this isn't sequential. This isn't over the course of 5 minutes. After they give him each step, they allow him to try to tell a story on his own. And what does he do in those moments? He provides information that is provably untrue. He describes, after they put him in the trailer, he describes looking down that hallway and seeing Ms. Halbach shackled to a wooden headboard. But that wooden headboard, we know, has no scratches on it, has no marks, nothing that would be consistent with this horrible story of a woman being raped while she was shackled to it. There's this whole account that they allow him to spin where he's trying to guess how she was killed. This account of throat cutting and stabbing and hair cutting, a bloody scene that would be almost impossible to clean up from. But there's not a trace of forensic evidence from Teresa Halbach in that bedroom, much less Brendan Dassey. So these moments where they're allowing him to spin on his own are provably untrue, or they are like clockwork from the media. It's when things begin to spin off the rails too much that they bring him back to the account.
What came from the media?
Many things, Your Honor. The fact that her RAV4 was found on the salvage yard property. The fact that she was there that day. The fact that her bones were found in the bonfire pit behind Stephen Avery's house. Many aspects like that, which many people in the state of Wisconsin knew. And of course, it was established in the state post-conviction record that, of course, Brendan and his family were watching the news about what was happening to their relative and to their home. In fact, we have an amicus brief exactly to that effect, establishing that false confessions happen under circumstances just like this, to kids just like Brendan. They're textured. They can be textured with detail. There are examples in the amicus brief of cases like the Central Park 5, other famous cases where young defendants gave interlocking, detailed confessions that sounded true that were later proven false. So we know that. We know that not to be true. And I would also point out that in the amicus brief, I think it speaks volumes that the law enforcement interrogation trainers who joined the amicus brief say they use this interrogation video as an example of what not to do.
Be honest. Because we're gonna be able to tell when you're not being honest. I'm telling you that right now. So you're walking down the road. Let's pick it up again, okay?
We already know what happened. Now tell us exactly. Don't lie. If you helped him, it's okay. Because he was telling you to do it. You didn't do it on your own.
Well, when I got the mail, there was like a envelope in there with his name on it.
All right.
Okay, now we're going. But what did you do?
I knocked on the door and he answered it.
Yeah, and then what?
I gave it to him and then I left.
Come on now. You just heard screaming over there.
You're making this hard on us and yourself.
Be honest. You went inside, didn't you?
It's all right, bud. But we needed your words. I can't say it.
Brendan, I already know. You know we know. Okay? Come on, buddy. Let's get this out, okay?
Does he ask you?
He does, doesn't he?
We know.
He asks you, doesn't he? What does he ask you?
Said if I wanted a girlfriend.
Oh, come on, be honest. You went back into that room.
Don't let us down, Brendan.
We know you were back there. Let's get it all out today. This will be all over with.
Yes, if you want some, right?
So he brings you back there and he shows you her. And what do? Honestly. Because we think
Very important.
we know what
Have to
happened.
be truthful.
We know what happened. It's okay. What did you do?
I didn't do nothing.
Brendan?
If you're learning guitar late in life, there's one distinction that will determine if you're going to succeed or fail. And I'm going to show
Brendan?
Okay, so there you kind of start to get the idea of what Laura Nyrider's talking about those introduction of plot points and fact feeding. I mean, and obviously the biggest one of the fact feeding was the one where they were trying to get Brendan to say how Teresa was killed, and they were trying to get him to say that she was shot in the head. And he was guessing things, but he was guessing wrong, and they got frustrated, and Mark Uyghur just blurted it out. Now, I did try to find that segment, but I would have to get it from MAM itself, and I don't like to use MAM in my videos because if you look at some of the commenters that disagree with me, they all claim that I was swayed by a documentary, so I kind of tend to not use MAM itself. But that everybody knows about that clip. Everybody's seen that clip. It's in everybody's memory. So I don't know. I don't think I really need to put it up here anyway.
You don't.
So now what we're going to go ahead and talk about is one more thing to keep in mind is that before this March 1st interview, you may have already seen my video, the video I did about the February 27th interview with Brendan, which is basically the Friday, and this March 1st interview is the Monday. Over that weekend, the Manitowoc, the Calumet Sheriff's Department or whatever, kept Barb and the boys, and particularly Brendan, at the Fox Hills Resort. And who knows what all was going on that whole entire weekend at the Fox Hills Resort. I mean, who knows how much they were preparing him and grooming him for the first, so that they were setting it up to where they had a more likely opportunity or a more likely chance of prompting Brendan to say certain things in a way that will be convincing. They had a whole weekend to prepare him, and like I said, that could have just been happening when they weren't doing interviews and stuff. There's an interview there that wasn't visually recorded. I believe there may be transcripts of it, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyways, the fact of the matter is that a 1 hour interview, and whether or not that was recorded, is nothing compared to a whole weekend's worth of time that they could have been hanging out poolside grooming him, all off the record. I mean, that's the real gist of it. That's really what is so odd about this. I mean, this whole weekend at the Fox Hills Resort, that's why I called the first video "Grooming Brendan for Coercion," because that's essentially what the whole entire weekend was leading up to the Monday of March 1st. So now we're going to go into the fact of what Judge Robner had the issue with, and that is the fact that these investigators were so eagerly and so intently trying to get Brendan to push things to the garage and say things happened in the garage, that they were getting impatient, that he wasn't really doing what they wanted, and that he wasn't understanding what they wanted, and that this really bothered her. So we're going to see some of the evidence of that in the interview now. So this is taken from the decision by the Seventh Circuit Court. Essentially, this is Robner and Williams, part where they sent to the habeas relief for Brendan. This is another prime example of the investigators telling Dassey exactly what he must say. Comes from the May 13th interview, which was not used at trial, but is part of the record. Now, where was the truck when you go into the garage? Brendan, I didn't see it. Wiegert, you can't say you didn't see the truck or know where the truck was, because that's just the way it is. Following this exchange, the investigators launch into a long harangue threatening to leave the interview if Brendan was not honest with us, and beseeching Dassey to do the right thing for Teresa. Wiegert, okay then, tell us the truth. Fassbender, let's start with the truck. That's a good place to start. There's other places we're going, but the truck is a good place to start. Tell us the truth about the truck. Brendan, it was backed into the garage. So there it is. They basically bully him into saying that the RAV4 was in the garage, and it is. That part, he basically resists the fact that they keep saying that the RAV4 had to be in the garage. He keeps saying, no, there was too many other vehicles in the garage, which makes a lot of sense because Stephen did have a lot of vehicles that were in there. So anyways, this is just one thing that got pointed out and thought I would share it. And now we'll move on to some of the interview.
Is it probably in there, or do you know what's in there?
That's what I think it is.
Why do you think it's in there?
Because he won't let the knife go.
Because he wouldn't let the knife go. How do you know that?
Because it was a pretty nice knife.
Did he tell you that? Did he wash it off or anything, or wipe it off, or what did he do with the knife?
You sure that she wasn't taken out to the garage alive and some of this stuff was done to her out there?
No.
Hanging from a rafter or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
Now, the worst is over. You're not going to shock us or anything by telling us if that happened. Because I just have a feeling that something may be there.
All right, so did you see that bit when Wiegert was asking about the knife? And he ends up asking Brendan, is it probably there or is it there? That's Wiegert showing his own, the fact that he feels like he can't get Brendan to say the right thing, or that Brendan is just getting it all wrong and that he is getting frustrated with it. I mean, it's so obvious right there because Brendan doesn't know. He's been doing nothing but guessing, and Wiegert knows that.
Yep.
But now he's getting frustrated that he's not guessing anywhere near the right thing. That's what it really comes down to, in my opinion. So that's what we're going in with there. Now, the final thing you heard there is, once again, seems to me that Tom Fassbender really expected to find something in that garage, because he says, because I have a feeling that it may be out there. To me, that sounds totally like he expects to find something there that has the mark of Teresa on it, whatever mark that may be. It seems pretty obvious that the way they're pushing to get everything to go to the garage, and they're getting him to talk about the garage and all that, because there was no evidence of anything that he had said in the trailer. So now they're trying to push it all to the garage and trying to maybe get a more credible line, a more credible story out of him there. That's almost what it seems like. But the point is that the kid is guessing most of the time. Now we're going to go into this control question. The control question, we're going to keep talking about the control question because this is huge to me. This is a huge problem.
Yes.
Because Tom Fassbender himself used this question on Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, whichever one.
Mhm.
He brought this on there because he wanted to use it to prove his point that he felt that Brendan that he wasn't coerced, that Brendan was actually resisting them at points. Well, we'll see right here. That control question gets answered very badly. He first says that she didn't have a tattoo on her stomach, which is true, but then Tom looks at him and says, "Oh, do you disagree with me?" And then Brendan flip flops and says, "No, but I just don't remember what it was." He flip flops. This all happens within about a 5 to 10 second period. He flip flops on his original answer. That is hardly a definitive answer to a control question, and that's just the way that goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you that now.
We know that Teresa had a tattoo on her stomach. Do you remember that? Do you disagree with me when I say that?
No, but I don't know what it was.
Okay, so this is another excerpt from the decision by the Seventh Circuit Court granting Brendan his habeas. So this is regarding the Teresa's personal items: camera, purse, cell phone, and the burn barrel. And it basically, this is Judge Robner and Williams' opinion regarding this scenario that played out. Although these were the two most egregious, they were not the only examples of the investigators feeding Brendan answers. In the following exchange, Dassey insisted for some time that he had no idea what happened to Halbach's personal effects. After some leading from Fassbender, in which Fassbender initiated the idea that there must have been a purse, a cell phone, and a camera in the burn barrel, Dassey was able to parrot that he saw these exact three items in the burn barrel. Even the investigators seemed concerned about the veracity of his statements, asking him several times to verify the truth, particularly in light of his claim that he saw the items beneath a garbage bag, an item that would have melted within seconds in the fire. Once again, at this point, Dassey has no motivation to lie or obfuscate facts about whether Stephen Avery burned Halbach's property in the burn barrel, as he has already admitted several times that he and Avery killed Halbach and burned her body. Nevertheless, he altered his answers in response to the cues from investigators. They told him exactly which items were found in the burn barrel and then cued him to tell the truth, which we have established had the effect on Dassey of meaning, tell us what we want to hear and keep guessing until you get it right. Fassbender. Okay, we talked last Monday, or talked about some things in the burn barrel out front. Do you remember anything about that burn barrel? It's you might want to be. It's a little more truth. You might want to be a little more truthful about it now. That it was full of stuff. Was it burning? Yeah. Did you put some things in the burn barrel that night? No. What happened to Teresa's other personal effects? I mean, a woman usually has a purse, right? Brendan nods yes. Tell us what happened to that. I don't know what happened to it. What happened to her cell phone? Don't try to think of something. Just, Brendan, I don't know. Did you see whether a cell phone of hers? Brendan, no. Fassbender, do you know whether she had a camera? Brendan, no. Fassbender, did Stephen tell you what he did with those things? Brendan, no. Fassbender, I need you to tell us the truth. Brendan, yeah. Fassbender, what did you do with her possessions? Brendan, I don't know. Uyghur, Brendan, it's okay to tell us, okay? It's really important that you continue being honest with us, okay? Don't start lying now. If you know what happened to her cell phone or a camera or a purse, you need to tell us, okay? Brendan nods yes. The hardest part's over. Do you know what happened to these items? Brendan, he burnt them. Uyghur, how do you know? Brendan, because when I passed there, there was like a person there and stuff. When you passed what? The burning barrel. And what did you look? And why did you look inside? Because it was full. What else was in there? Like garbage bags, some. Did you put those things in the burning barrel? Brendan says no. Did you actually see those things in the burning barrel? Uyghur emphasizes the word see. Brendan nods. Yes. Tell me what you saw in there exactly. Like they were buried underneath garbage, a garbage bag that was. How did you know, or how could you see them if they were underneath a garbage bag? Because the garbage bag was like on top, like that far off the top. Okay, so you have the barrel. Brendan nods yes. Okay, why don't you look at me for a second now? Okay, we got the barrel. Brendan nods yes. Mm-hmm. Uyghur. Okay, here's the top of the barrel. Brendan nods yes. And the garbage bag is on top. Brendan, yeah. And where are those items you said you saw? Like right underneath there. Underneath the bag? Yeah. Well, how would you see that? Well, if the bags are that far off the top, you know, you can see underneath it, through underneath it. You can see underneath it. Brendan nods yes. What did you see? Like a cell phone, a camera, and a purse. Are you being honest with us? Brendan, yeah. Did you actually see those items? Brendan, yeah. When did you see them? Brendan, when I came over for the mail, to deliver the mail. So, even the investigators themselves do not believe what Brendan is saying. I mean, it's pretty clear that even they have an inkling at this point that Brendan is too suggestible and this isn't working out. All right, folks, so that's going to be it for today. You can see it there. Judge Robner and Williams are clearly pointing it out. Basically the same thing that Laura Nyrider has been saying for a long time. It's hard to call out a confession when it was pretty much all fed to him, and so that he could parrot it back, and they could use it against him and Stephen. So that's about it for this video. There's obviously going to be more. I'm going to be doing another video about the March 1st interview, kind of, you know, honing in and focusing in on the vague promises, as they're called by Judge Hamilton, and the just the other little things about the confession that are kind of strange and odd. So that's about it for this one. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you later.
So quite interesting that, you know, I mean, Hamilton really does, it really is a piece of work. He also quotes in his majority opinion the control question and completely twists it the wrong way. You know, the simple fact is that as far as the control question was concerned with Brendan, he failed it because he said, yes, he did see a tattoo when challenged. He says, I don't know what it was, because he knew he was going to have to guess again. Yeah, Hamilton, you know, as we've now discovered with this new Senate bill for Illinois, Hamilton, you're wrong. They're not allowed to lie, particularly to juveniles like Brendan. So I would really like to see Judge Hamilton not be the spineless git that he has been so far, and actually do something to help Brendan. It's so obvious, you know. I mean, Laura explained it to you in, you know, in simple language, and yet the git still doesn't get it. Anyway, I'm gonna go and calm down, take the dog for a walk or something, you know, kick the cat. We don't have a cat. And if we did, Jock would just chase it. So no cat. Take care. I'll dig out part 2 and part 3 that the dude was on about. And we'll see you all again soon. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you later.